This is our certificate of incorporation, and I challenge them to produce theirs. The one they got irregularly is revoked here. Those are people who do not have any legal entity to be in this land.
Tonight on EBN Weekend Edition, one police officer has died from injuries sustained during a violent land dispute in Kibiko, Kajiado West Sub-County.
1.1 million children in Kenya will be transitioning from junior school to senior school in January. I want to tell those people who are introducing small politics and unnecessary propaganda into the education of our children, I am telling them to keep off our children.
President William Ruto assures all 1.1 million children transitioning from junior to senior secondary school will be guaranteed a place when the new school term begins in January.
Almost everyone in this village, the kids are traumatized. Everyone who was close to him is traumatized, and we are demanding for answers.
Family seeks answers of abduction of senior NPR officer in Isiolo County. President William Ruto's popularity has risen from 21% in August to 28% in December, according to a new opinion poll released by Infotrack.
Alright, we're live across the social media platform that is on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can as well send us your feedback through our SMS line, that is 23059. My name is Macharia, and EBN Weekend Edition starts now. And one police officer has died from injuries sustained during a violent land dispute in Kibiko, that is in Kajiado West Sub-County, heightening tensions over a long-running communal land subdivision standoff. The officer was among several police personnel injured on Christmas Day after they were ambushed by a group of fraud youth while providing security to surveyors who were erecting beacons on the disputed land. Several civilians were also injured in the confrontation, and 2 motorcycles were set ablaze, according to police. The youth were armed with arrows, spears, and other crude weapons. Authorities allege the attackers were acting in collaboration with a section of local leaders opposed to the subdivision of the land. The dispute centers on a 2,800-acre parcel of prime land valued at approximately 100 billion Kenya shillings. Leadership wrangles over the land have divided the community into 2 rival factions, fueling tensions and have persisted for years. Now, Kajiado County Police Commander Alex Shikondi condemned the violence and warned individuals insisting on inciting or participating in attacks against security officers and civilians that firm action will be taken against them.
This is our certificate of incorporation. Yes. And I challenge them to produce theirs. This is a court ruling in Kajiado that said we are mandated to subdivide this land. This is a Kenya Gazette. Kenya Gazette notice that said we are the trustees. The one they got irregularly is revoked here. Those are people who do not have any legal entity to be in this land.
Right, President William Ruto has assured that all 1.1 million children transitioning from junior to senior secondary school will be guaranteed a place when the new school term begins in January. Now, the pledge was made during the 20th anniversary celebrations of Covenant Church International in Roshen, that is in Narok County. Speaking at the event, President emphasized that education should remain free from political interference, warning those introducing propaganda into the schooling system to keep off the children and refrain from politicizing educational matters. President William Ruto further highlighted that the government has already disbursed 44 billion Kenya shillings to support education initiatives, underscoring the administration's commitment to ensuring access to quality education for all learners. Now, he urged parents, teachers, and community leaders to focus on the welfare and development of students, stressing that political interest should not compromise the education of the nation's children.
The first cohort of our young men and women going to senior school is going to happen in January. It is a most consequential transition in Kenya because it is part of the transition of our education reform process that now is going to give us a new way of our students progressing with their education. So a most consequential exercise is underway in Kenya. 1.1 million children in Kenya will be transitioning from junior school to senior school in January. I want to assure parents across the Republic of Kenya and all other stakeholders that we have made adequate arrangements. Every child, the 1.13 million children in Kenya, each of them has a place to go to in senior school. Hakuna mtoto hata moja atakosa nafasi ya kwenda katika shule ya senior school ama secondary school ikifika Januari. I want to tell those people who are introducing small politics and unnecessary propaganda into the education of our children. I am telling them to keep off our children. Watu ambao wako na siasa fitina ndogo ndogo, madalali wa siasa ya bure, wanataka kuingiza watoto wetu kwa mambo ya siasa ambayo haina maana. Mimi nataka niwaeleze watafute mahali ingine ya kupeleka siasa. Wawachane na watoto ya Kenya. Watoto wa Kenya wote 1,130,000 wote watapata nafasi ya kwenda katika shule ya senior school Januari. Tumetoa pesa kama serikali bilioni 44. Pesa hiyo itakuwa shuleni kabla ya watoto kufika shuleni. Na hakuna pesa imepunguzwa ya kusomesha watoto wetu. Hawa watu wanaongea hapa, nimesikia wanajaribu kuongea. Wapeleke siasa mbali. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Wawachane na watoto ya Kenya. Watoto wa Kenya ni watoto wetu and tumefanya reform ya kutosha.
Right now, family in Isiolo County is demanding answers following the abduction of a senior National Police Reserve, that is NPR officer Malele Abdi Hassan, whose whereabouts remain unknown for more than a week after his disappearance. Malele, who was in charge of the NPR operations in Buat location, was reportedly abducted on December 20th while riding home on a motorcycle. And according to eyewitnesses, 3 masked men intercepted him, forcing him into the boot of a private vehicle and drove away at high speed. The incident has sparked fear and anxiety among family members and the wider community. Clan elders or leaders say the family is deeply concerned, questioning why police officers later collected Malele's official firearm despite authorities denying any involvement in his disappearance. Malele, a father of 9, is described by community members as a dedicated officer who played a key role in local security operations. Community and clan leaders have now called on security agencies to urgently investigate the incident and disclose Malele's whereabouts. They are urging the government to act swiftly to ensure his safe return and to reassure residents of their security.
Sisi kama wamama tunalia Malele Abdi Hassan arudishwe kwake. Tafadhali tunaomba, tuko na magavana, tuko na senator, tuko na women rep. Tunalilia hawa, tunalia usiku na mchana. Malele Abdi Hassan mahali ako, tunataka regeshwe.
Almost everyone in this village, the kids are traumatized. Everyone who was close to him is traumatized, and we are demanding for answers. Because yesterday it was him, tomorrow it might be me, and the other day it might be the other person. And if it was the government who abducted him, we are demanding for the answers. You should follow the right criteria on which you abducted him.
We have a constitution that protects us. It is very, very unfortunate and very sad that the government that has sworn to protect the constitution and the people of Kenya, being the same people, breaking the law and also putting the lives of the Kenyans in danger. For example, if I draw a reference from the Constitution of Kenya, Article 29, freedom and security. Constitution of Kenya guarantees us freedom and security, that every Kenyan has a right to be secure, and every Kenyan has a freedom of movement, of speech, and everything. And abduction is not allowed in the Kenyan Constitution. Arbitrary and torture, all those things are not allowed in the Kenyan Constitution. If someone has committed a crime or has broken the law, the government is supposed to arrest that person and tell that person why he is arrested and take that person to court within 24 hours after arrest. But our brother is missing. We don't know where he is. We have no knowledge of whereabouts.
All right, now let's talk matters politics. And Ford Kenya has officially distanced itself from Westland's Member of Parliament and Governor of the Bungoma gubernatorial aspirant Tim Wanyonyi, following his recent statement that he is undecided on which party will contest under in the 2027 elections, but will not use Ford Kenya. Now, the party, through Secretary General John Chikati, condemned Wanyonyi's remarks, saying he is not a member of Ford Kenya and that his comments were aimed at undermining and discrediting the party. Bungoma Senator Wafula Wakoli also weighed in, emphasizing that leadership is about more than family ties, referring to Wanyonyi's relationship with the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula. He assured party supporters that Ford Kenya will nominate a candidate to succeed Governor Kenneth Lusaka in the next election. The controversy has drawn attention from party and ward representatives who expressed strong opposition to Wanyonyi's statements. Reports indicate that 90% of the ward representatives appeared to support the party's chosen candidate during the announcement of the succession plan for Governor Lusaka's position in the 2027 polls.
I would like to ask my brother Tim Wanyonyi to campaign freely without mentioning the name of Ford Kenya. Let him come and vie on a party he wants. But we are not also interested in his governorship on Ford Kenya. For about a few months, he's shown us that he's not a leader who can bring people together. Ford Kenya is cohesive, and we don't want divisiveness in our party. We take our role responsibly and collectively. Our collective role from now henceforth is that we are not going to stand with Tim Wanyonyi because he has abandoned and denied us. He's abused our party, he's belittled our party, and therefore we are telling him, go it alone.
Katika muungano wa broad-based, kila chama kina haki ya kuamua hatima yake na kupanga mambo yake. Kwa sasa tunaongea kuhusu mwaniaji bendera wa chama cha Ford Kenya katika kiti cha ugavana na marafiki wetu. Sasa yale ya broad base tutafuga daraja tutakapofika kwa mto. Kwa sasa wacha tupambane na huyu tuliye naye sasa.
Na sisi unajua kama viongozi tukaangalia asima yako na tukaanza kutembea na wewe. Si kwa ubaya, lakini leo hii umekuja peupe kinakaubaka ukasema ya kwamba hauhitaji sisi. Kwa hivyo nasi pia tunakuambia tunaheshimu maoni yako. Hatutakuhitaji, lakini sisi tutaendelea kusonga mbele. Kitu ya muhimu ni kwamba mheshimiwa, umetuondolea muziko ambao ulikuwa mapekani mwetu. Kwa hivyo sisi kama chama cha Ford Kenya tuko kangari na tutahakikisha ya kwamba hata na sisi pia hatukuhitaji.
He is not a member of Ford Kenya. Mbona anakuwa pita na Ford Kenya? Si aongelee mambo ya ODM ama ile chama anataka kuingia ndani. Kwa nini una cross boundaries? Oh, hiyo chama sitaenda, and you know the party will not go to his Ford Kenya. You talk about your party that you are coming to.
Sisi tumechoka na madharau. Mtu akiamuka asubuhi Ford Kenya, akitaka kula lunch Ford Kenya, akitaka kulala Ford Kenya.
Na kwa nafasi hii vile ametamuka jinsi alitamuka kwamba hana nafasi ama hana haja ya kusimama katika chama chetu cha Ford Kenya, pia nasi atumuhitaji.
While still on matters politics, President William Ruto's popularity has risen from 21% in August to 28% in December, according to the new opinion poll released by Infotrack. Now, the survey shows President William Ruto remains the most preferred presidential candidate ahead of the 2027 general elections. He is followed by former Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, and Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino. The poll also highlights key issues likely to influence voter decisions in the next election. And according to the findings, 46% of Kenyans say the cost of living will be the main factor guiding their vote in 2027. Further, 27% indicate that the fight against corruption will shape their choice of leaders. Other concerns cited by respondents include the provision of healthcare services, access to education, and youth employment opportunities. However, the poll reveals significant public distrust in the electoral process. 31% of the respondents said they do not trust the Independent Electoral and Minority Commission, that is the IEBC, to deliver credible election, while only 8% expressed confidence in the electoral body. All right, now that's a report released today by Infotrack, giving way the President William Ruto that he is the people's preferred candidate come 2027. That's according to the Infotrack report, which was released today. All right. Now, moving on, still on matters politics, President William Ruto has reaffirmed his vision of transforming Kenya from a third world to the first world country, outlining his commitment to the nation's development during the 20th anniversary celebrations of Covenant Church International in Roshan, that is in Narok County. Now, speaking at the event, the president highlighted that his administration has well-laid plans aimed at boosting economic growth, fostering unity, and enhancing the welfare of all Kenyans. Now, in a show of political support, Homa Bay County Governor and Orange Democratic Movement Chairperson Gladys Wanga pledged her backing for President William Ruto's administration, honoring commitments made with the late ODM leader Raila Odinga. Now, Governor Wanga lauded the inclusivity of the current government, noting that it has united Kenyans across diverse communities. Meanwhile, Narok Senator Dama Olekina declared that the Maasai community will support President William Ruto in the upcoming 2027 general elections.
Maono mimi niko nayo ya kutoa Kenya kutoka third world mpaka first world, ikae kama South Korea, ikae kama Singapore, ikae kama Malaysia. Pia hiyo vile yenu imetimia, na hiyo pia itatimia. Na mimi naona nyinyi ni candidates wa kushirikiana na mimi katika hiyo safari, kwa sababu hata nyinyi ni international, ama namna gani, si ndio? Kwa hivyo mimi nasema pongezi sana. Askofu Simpai alinitafuta, viongozi wengi wa hapa walinitafuta wakasema tuje tushirikiane katika sherehe hii ya muhimu, lakini askofu ndiye aliniweza, kwa sababu aliniandikia kwa SMS mrefu, akanichochea mambo mengi sana. Kwanza akanishauri nisiangalie kando, nisiangalie pande hii ingine, niangalie mbele. Nikaona huyu mtu wa kunichochea twende mbele ni mtu mzuri.
Na sisi kama chama cha ODM tumekuwa na mkataba, kiongozi wetu ambaye aliaga Bwana Raila Amolo Odinga, wamekuwa na mkataba na rais wetu katika ile broad based government. Na tumekubaliana pale ndani ya kwamba kitu kimoja ambayo ni kubwa sana pale inaitwa inclusivity, kushirikisha kila pande ya Kenya ikuwe katika ndani ya maendeleo ambayo inaendelea mbele. Sisi kama tunatoka ile pande ya Nyanza, wa Masai, Mount Kenya, kila mahali, coast, kila mahali ijumuishwe ndani, na hakuna pande ya Kenya iwachwe nyuma. Sisi tuko pamoja katika hiyo safari, tukiongozwa na rais wetu.
Wamasai ni wale ambaye ukiwakaribia pia hawa wanakupenda, na ndio mimi nataka kueleza ya kwamba kuanzia leo mahali wao huko, wewe ujue ya kwamba kura zote za Masai ni za William Samoei Arap Ruto. Asiwagira lesho, bali hiyo yote nimesema. Si yote mmekubaliana na mimi ya kwamba kura zote ni za nani? Ukiona le Diamond anasimama hapa na anataja jina ya William Ruto, ujue kweli Mungu wako. Unasikia? Mjue Mungu anashika watu na amenishika na mimi nimeona mbele. Ama namna gani? Raila alituacha hapa na hapa ndio si tuko.
Right, that particular story takes us on our first breather here on EBN Weekend Edition, but we'll be back in just a bit. Alright, welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Moving on, a section of Kaya Fungo elders has opposed the recent installation of former Matunga Member of Parliament, that is Chirau Ali Mwakwere, as the spokesperson of the Mijikenda community, citing lack of consultation and failure to follow established cultural procedures. Now, the elders led by Sumanzai said they were not involved in the decision-making process and insisted that the installation did not adhere to traditional Mijikenda customs and protocols. Now, they argue that such a significant role within the community must be sanctioned through recognized cultural structures and consensus among elders. Addressing journalists, the elders issued a 14-day ultimatum to Chirau Ali Mwakwere and individuals involved in installation, demanding a public apology to the Mijikenda community.
Ambayo yalifanyika, yule bado tunamtambua kama msemaji wa Wadigo, lakini si msemaji wa Mijikenda. Kwa hivyo kufikia hapo, na pia tunasema kufikia saa hizi tunataka mtu ambaye atakuwa amepewa nafasi ya kuwa yeye awe kiongozi wa Mijikenda, hasa awe msemaji au ngazi yote ya juu, ni awe amepata mamlaka ya kiserikali, ndio ataweza sauti yake iweze kuwa juu. Lakini tumeona wale ambao wanapewa nafasi ni wale ambao zile nafasi zao walizichezea. Kufikia saa hizi wako nyumbani na ndio wanasema wanataka kuongoza wa Mijikenda. Utaongoza vipi Mijikenda ukiwa wewe bado uko nyumbani na mamlaka huko nayo?
Mimi kwa niaba ya Wamijikenda na Wakaya Fungo na kaya zote 9 ninawalani vikali wale mawakili ambao walienda pale kumwapisha yule mzee Mwafulani, kwa sababu sisi Wamijikenda huwa hatuna certificate za kuapisha anayetuwakilisha, bali huwa ni wazee wanakaa, wazee 9 wanachagua kiongozi mmoja ndio anawakilisha Wamijikenda ama hata wapwani wote. Kwa hivyo tunalani kabisa, na naomba wale wenzetu ambao wako huko nje, ni kwa nini kila ikifika wakati wa siasa iko karibu ndio mnaitisha umoja wa Mijikenda? Na waomba tafadhalini tuheshimu makaya yetu na wazee wetu ili tupate amani katika maisha yetu.
Nataka nianze nikisema kwamba ni msiba. Msiba huu unasababishwa na baadhi ya viongozi tamaa. Sisi kama Mijikenda, uongozi wa Mijikenda unaanza makaya. Shughuli iliyotendeka jana ya kumwapisha Mwafulani, sisi hatuitambui wala hatuiungi mkono. Sisi wazee wa makaya, sisi hatuna chama. Shughuli iliyofanyika jana ilikuwa ni chama cha Umwengawehu Association. Sisi wale viongozi wote ambao kwamba wamepitia katika tabaka mbalimbali kama uongozi kutoka watu wa sisi wa pwani, uongozi wao wamepata baraka kutoka kwa wazee wa kaya, kutoka makaya. Shughuli iliyotendeka jana tunailani na tunaikemea.
Alright, moving on, UDA Secretary General and Member of Parliament Vincent Musyoka has highlighted the importance of collaboration between local leaders and the UDA government in attracting development initiatives and resources to communities. Now, speaking during the verification exercise at Makutano Primary School, which was attended by over 6,000 students from universities and technical institutions, Musyoka noted that his close working relationship with President William Ruto has enabled tangible benefits for residents, particularly in education and community development projects. Now, he urged young people to safeguard their interests and actively participate in the development initiatives aimed at improving the livelihoods of community members. Musyoka emphasized that youth engagement is critical to ensuring that projects achieve the intended impact and contribute to long-term social and economic growth.
Nataka muelewe siasa na siasa ni interest. So kama Mwala mnapata interest zenu ziko mbele kupitia kwa rais na Kawaya, nyinyi mnapaswa kukwamilia hapo, kwa sababu kuna watu wanatafuta mabarabara bado hawajapata, lakini wanataka kuvurusha rais. Wao wakiingia pale ile nafasi ambayo mimi nashikilia katika Ukambani leo, hiyo nafasi itashikiliwa na mwingine. Na hizi vitu ambazo mnaona zikiwa rahisi sana, zikiwa so easy, they will go to other places. Comrades, lazima nyinyi mkuwe werevu sana. You must protect your interests. Kuna watu ambao tumesomesha hapa, tumewasaidia na bursaries wakasoma wakamaliza shule, lakini kwa sababu wamemaliza hawaoni haja ya nyinyi kusomeshwa. I am one of the very few members of parliament wenye wakimtaka rais wanamfikia kwa rais sana, na ni lazima tuchunge huo uhusiano, kwa sababu hata wakati unaona wengine wanatafuta serikali, hakunanga sababu nyingine ndio uweze kutetea watu.
All right, moving on, Member of Parliament Nami Wamboka has called on young people, particularly university students, to actively safeguard their rights and secure their future. Now speaking during a recent engagement, Wamboka warned that silence in the face of injustice leaves youth vulnerable, urging them to take action to raise their voices on matters that affect their lives. Wamboka also condemned the misuse of social media, noting that irresponsible online behavior has cost many young people employment opportunities. Now he emphasized the importance of using social media as a tool for personal and economic development rather than engaging in activities that could harm their prospects.
The direction of a ward, a constituency and a county. Musijiangushe. Musijieke tu hapo chini. I want you guys to be fired up and people, the world will listen to you. Mukiwa wanafunzi, stand for your rights. And we will be with you. Hatumusikii kabisa. Na that is why the movement ya wanafunzi Kenya mzima iko chini. During our days, comradeship, comrade power was power. Ilikuwa inatoa Moi State House, tunasimamisha tunasema maneno yetu, mambo inaendelea. Msikue tu ati mnangoja mtu akikuja wanamuita kwenda mikutano, kukuja kuweka buses kwa colleges kumpeleka kusikiza mikutano. Msikue hivyo. Some lady was appointed on tourism and regulatory board. But immediately wakaenda kuangalia social handles zake. Today if you go for an interview today, by the time you start doing your interview, part of the conditions, kuna secretariat inaangalia social handles, what you post on your social media, on your Facebook, on your what. That is just a word of advice for you. You may think you are doing this because you are young. Apana, that thing will affect you. Be responsible users of social media.
All right, moving on. As Kenya approaches the 2027 general elections, the Gusii Women in Leadership Network has called on the communities to support women aspiring to leadership positions as a means of empowering them socially and politically. Now, during a recent gathering, politicians and founders of the network encouraged women to actively engage in governance, highlighting the importance of community backing in ensuring meaningful representation. The leaders also urged women to thoroughly review the draft constitutional amendments and take joint action to address pressing social challenges, including HIV and AIDS, teenage pregnancies, and gender-based issues. Now, the network emphasized that empowering women in leadership roles is not only a step towards gender equality, but also a pathway to tackling societal challenges through inclusive policy making and community participation.
Of things happening, even calls for a referendum, calls for all that. I think for Gusii Women Leadership, we are just saying, take your time to learn more on what they're saying. If they're throwing around the gender card, like the referendum has the gender agenda in it, but have we gone through the document to see what is in it? So ignorance is not an excuse. All the platform is for us to continue to learn, continue to be involved, continue to work together, continue to hold men and women in this journey of development.
Girls have shown they have the ability to do even better later in life. We have followed our students from high school into universities, and we are proud when we see them leading serious departments like medical school, law school.
We have elected. You vote. They come with ballot. They vote for us so that you can be a leader there. So from there, as we address those women down there at the market, because that's where we'll talk and that's where I come from, we have now we can stand the way I've stood now to talk to the audience.
And our people to come back to our heritage where even land was given to the women, not the men. We need to come back to our culture.
Alright, that particular story wraps up our program here on EBN Weekend Edition. Many thanks, of course, keeping me company until this particular minute. Of course, on behalf of the entire team that made this particular broadcast success, we say thank you and good night for keeping EBN Television. My name is Macharia. Do yourself a good night, and as always, let's do this again when God says we do.